Okay, we've got Dyson V8 Animal model today, and I'm going to show you how to put it back together. As you can see, these are the parts. When you have taken it apart and cleaned them up, then you're going to end up with these. For taking it apart and putting it back, you need Torx screwdriver. We need number 10 and number 8, and also a flat screwdriver to just remove some of the parts. Now, how do we do that? Okay, the first part that you're gonna take is this, the cover here. Then you are going to put this inside and make sure it clicks. Now there are two gaskets. One is the black one that goes inside. Make sure you press it gently because the gaskets are very delicate. And then you've got a red gasket which sits on top. And the red gasket is even thinner than the black one, so make sure when you're removing it and when you're putting it back, you're not pulling it or you're not using screwdriver or anything that can rip it apart. And for washing it, just mild detergent, dishwashing liquid, rinse and let it dry completely. So, got that. Now the next part that goes on is this piece. So this one, you need to push it slightly and you align it like this. You can see this part, it's the wider one that sits here. You can gently push it in. Without ripping the gasket off. And as you can see, these edges are designed to keep the gasket in place. Make sure that the screw holes align, because when you're going to screw this back, you don't want to rip the gasket off. Now the next part that goes on is this main part. So this, just want to show you, this comes also apart. And when you want to put it back, you're going to make sure that these two edges align and goes nicely in between the rubber part. And you just need to push it in. Right. So this goes on top. Now here you need to screw back in the parts together. So there are 4 screws. For this you need the Torx 8. Now because this is a very tiny space to push things through, and I couldn't reach the screws originally using this, I had to use another screwdriver. As a Torx 6 still works and it reaches all the parts. If not, you just use a bit that has got a much longer and thinner head. So there are 4 screws. And if you're using the magnetic drivers, that's even better because it's a really difficult to reach area. What you could do, you could actually put the screws first into the part and then push the part in with the screws in, but you have to make sure that the screws nicely go into the holes. Okay, so I've got 2, then the third one here. As I said, these are Torx 8, but because I didn't have Torx 8 and couldn't find it, I'm using Torx 6, which works just fine, but make sure that everything is tight and nice. Let me just check. Okay, that's good. And you don't need to tighten it too much, just that it sits in place and screws are fully inserted. Right, so this is the top part. Now the next part that we are gonna put in is this part, and as you can see I've already cleaned these. To put this in, you put this side first and push it in like here, and then put the whole thing down. It just goes nicely. Overall the material is soft, so it allows you. Just remember to align this section here first and then press it in. Right, so we've got this part all ready. I checked, everything looks good. Next part goes on is this, and it's really easy to align it. So you've got this smooth face here, and this goes exactly there. There are 5 screws. These are Torx 8 again. I've put the screws now so that it's easier to push them in. Just make sure they're aligned with the holes. Right, so 5 screws, as I mentioned. These are the same screws as the lower part. Lower part has got 4 screws. This upper part that I'm screwing right now has got 5. But as I said, they're the same size, so if you mix them, it's not an issue. Right, one thing that I did in my practice run for this video was to put the 2 screws that attach the top and bottom parts already. So here, once you do this part, there are 2 screws, shorter screws here, which you need to also add this. I've done this already. So that's the main part. The last part to attach is this. There are 4 screws, and these screws are slightly bigger, so I'm going to use Torx 10. So just pay attention here. This is the rubber gasket, and when you put this part, make sure that you press on the sides such that the rubber gasket comes up and it's not pinched. And after that you can just tighten the screws. You can make sure that the screw doesn't pinch the gasket and the gasket sticks out, stays above. Right, so we're almost done. Just checking the screws, not too tight, also not too loose. Last part of this, well, 2 parts. I've already taken this part and washed them, but this goes this way. Make sure that you have it in the correct way. This way it ensures there's a good seal so the dust and debris doesn't go in. Make sure you do not put this way. And it's actually hard to put it anyway. I mean, you could, but it's very fiddly, so the correct way of putting it is this way. So put it here now. This part doesn't have any screws, so you have to nicely and gently push this back in. And what I do, I align it with top and then just running my hand, make sure that it's tight. Yeah, and place a little bit, which is fine. Right, okay. The filter, that's your engine. So I'm gonna attach the bin or the dust can. So you've got something like a plug here, and same here. So the way it works, you slide it in and you would see these, guides here. So make sure that you follow this. You put it in and then it clicks in. The lid doesn't close here, which is totally normal, because this is when you have pulled it up and it's in a cleaning mode. So to put this part in, there are these guides and grooves here. Make sure this aligns nicely. And then gently press it down. And then you close the lid. So there you go, your Dyson V8. Well, that's it today. I hope you find it useful. Thank you for watching.